This is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN.Network. And joining me right now is Paige Tucker. He is the president and CEO of ProStar Holdings Inc. It's a publicly traded company. I got a couple symbols for you: MAPPF on the OTCQB and MAPS on the TSX Venture. And you can actually see Paige give a presentation at our upcoming investor event, the SNN.Network Summer Virtual Event, happening August 17 through 19, 2021. To register and see his presentation, please go to our website at conference.snn.network. With that, Paige, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Very good. So this is our first time doing an interview together. So if you can, please start us off with a quick overview and history of ProStar.
So ProStar is a SaaS company, software as a service, and we have developed an application that is built on cloud and mobile platform and is designed to precisely capture, record, and display the precise location of critical infrastructure, which includes both above ground and below ground, which would be, utilities and pipelines. And we can actually locate where they are down to the centimeter.
Well, talk about timing, right? I mean, we're recording this today on August 10th, 2021. Just the little bill was just went through the Senate here today on the infrastructure bill. So before we get into differentiation, all that stuff, how does that bill really affect the company? I'm sure you've been looking forward to this day.
Well, absolutely. When people think infrastructure, because it's what's been coming out of the White House mainly, they think of roads, bridges, highways, railway systems. But there's also another critical infrastructure that's actually far greater in size and maybe even more significant, which is what we call the below infrastructure, which would include your utilities and pipelines. So for example, water systems, your sewer systems, fiber optic, even the gas that heats our home. So, and we focus both of those infrastructures. And actually, you can't work on above ground infrastructure or the below ground infrastructure without actually impacting each other.
Very good. So what does the competitive landscape look like, and how would you say ProStar is unique and different compared to some of your peers out there?
Number one, we are the pioneer in precision mapping solutions, meaning, developing an application that runs just on a standard mobile device that can get you down to centimeter accuracy. I think that you'll see that in the competitive landscape, there's other companies that are starting to get involved in what it is we do. Fortunately, as the pioneer, we applied for many patents that revolve around, capturing, recording, and displaying critical infrastructure down to the precision that I'm sharing with you, which is to the centimeter. And to date, we have 20 patents that have actually been issued, which is somewhat unprecedented for an early stage technology company to have an IP portfolio that's as extensive as ours. So arguably, I think we've built a moat around ourselves based on our IP.
So who's the target customer? Is the municipalities that are then saying, okay, here are the areas that we need building, or is it the private sector that's looking to build and get some of these contracts?
Yeah, actually, it's I call this the stakeholders that are involved in either owning the infrastructure, constructing it, or maintaining and managing it. So an example would be municipalities, State Department of Transportation, federal government, all the way down to the actual utility owner, which might be, the fiber optic company or the gas company. Also the municipalities, because in most cases they manage the water and sewer systems, but also the construction companies that actually build and install the infrastructure, and then the engineering and surveying firms, that are involved in doing a lot of the planning and design.
Very good. And what's your background? I mean, what did you do prior to ProStar, and then also the inspiration behind ProStar?
Well, I've been involved in developing innovative technologies for over 25 years. My core competency and focus has always been on data management and also geographic information systems, which is actually a big fancy word for digital mapping. But really, the reason I started ProStar is based on my background with other companies that I started, but also I grew up in the oil and gas industry, and not knowing where actually these pipelines are has been cause for a tremendous amount of issues. And of course, everywhere in the United States and throughout North America, as you know, there's a public uprise over installation of these pipelines, because the damage it can have not only to the environment, but the risks that are associated to the public. So based on my background in developing technologies, data management, and geographic information systems, it was natural for me to focus on an industry that is what I call a lagger in adopting modern technology, which is literally the construction industry, and being able to provide a solution that could identify where all this critical infrastructure is and make that information readily available to those that need it most, which is the worker out in the field, so they can make better business decisions based on better information that's being provided to them. So that's kind of how we got to where we are.
Very good. So to close us out today, from what you can tell us, what would you say are some of the company's value catalysts now for the rest of 2021?
Well, the main thing, obviously, is there's a lot of what we call shovel-ready projects that have been delayed as a result of COVID. And I think that now we're going to start to see some of these projects kicking off, which means we have to catch up on all the projects that we had from last year. And then, of course, all the projects and initiatives we have this year. But we're also going to see trickle down from, $1 trillion that's going to be directed towards infrastructure to kickstart our economy. So we're going to see a lot of activity in the construction world that's focused on infrastructure. And as part of that bill, of course, it's roads, bridges, railway systems. It's also water systems, sewage, and expansion of broadband. So I think we've positioned ourselves very well. We're also working with some of the largest infrastructure construction companies in North America, largest engineering and surveying firms in North America that are involved, particularly in what's called subsurface utility engineering. So anything that's below the surface of the earth. We're also working with Department of Transportation. In fact, Colorado recently just mandated our software in the state of Colorado. So I think we're well positioned and poised to be able to realize a significant amount of business as a result of just these shovel-ready projects that are ready to go, but obviously the impact of the infrastructure bill.
And with that, Paige, where can our audience go and find more information on ProStar?
You can go to www.prostarcorp.com, and plenty of information about the company on our website.
Very good. Paige, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Good luck, stay safe, and I look forward to our next update.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a great week.
You too.